welcome to It's a Great Place to Live in Spite of Itself. I'm Larry Strother, and we're here talking with a bunch of guests around the area to tell us what's happening in Los Alamitos, what has happened, what should happen. First segment guest, Richard Murphy, the new city councilman for Los Alamitos. Welcome to the show, Richard.
Thank you. Good to be here.
What possessed you to ever run for city council?
I wonder about that.
You're a reasonably intelligent guy. I don't know. What is it?
I spoke to a few people 2 years ago. Jeff Stewart was the first one. Took me to lunch, said, "You ever think of running?" And so it got me thinking about it. And then Marilyn, told me she wasn't going to run and had asked me if I would consider it. And at that point, I was far enough along, and I said, "Okay."
What prompted that? You've been coming to the council meetings. Had you often been doing that, or was that just?
I'd been a pretty regular attendant, but I saw 80% of the meetings, attended 80% of the meetings for about 4 years, I think.
I mean, why? What prompted you to start coming to the meetings? What's the business interest that certain issues came up, or you just become more involved in local?
I just think the typical story, something set me off, and there I was complaining, and just got into it, and let's face it was very entertaining stuff for some of the time.
Some of the time it was, yeah, indeed.
So and I just started paying attention at that point, and.
Well, politics is not your background at all. I mean,
no.
You're by trade. I know you're in the real estate industry now, but you were financial side before?
CPA for a long time.
So you understand numbers.
I hope so. Yeah.
So all right, you understand numbers. I was curious. I heard when you did a previous interview, your dad used to play for the New York Knicks.
Yes, he did. When the league first started after World War II, he spent a couple of years with the Knicks and then the Boston Celtics.
And do you still, did he tell you old stories about those days?
I think I heard every story 100 times, but he was quite a star in college, and in fact...
Was he at Marshall University? Is that what I saw?
Manhattan.
Manhattan University,
yeah,
okay.
And, he was very famous. He scored all his team's points in a half. For only time it ever was done in Madison Square Garden, he scored 20 points in a half. And a lot of old sportscasters, we would go to like the Mets games or the Knicks games, and these guys would still be, they would remember my dad for that feat.
Wow.
That he even got what's called Star of the Week in New York, which against all the pro teams that were there.
Yeah.
That was the feat of the week in New York sports. So it was interesting. I mean, he was a good athlete. Turned down a chance to try out with the Phillies to play with the Knicks. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
So he's good in baseball as well?
Yeah, he was pretty natural at anything.
So how'd you end up in California?
He worked for Sears, and his boss transferred to Montgomery Wards.
Okay.
And, we came out here. We were born in New York, but had moved to Dallas, which I think was a cultural shock for my parents.
I imagine it was, yeah.
33 years in Brooklyn and Manhattan, and then Dallas, Texas, and then I've been out here since '64.
So, is that when you started playing the Little League?
Yeah.
You used to play over the...
Played the St. Hedwig's Little League, and then played at the base, the Pony and Colt for 4 years.
So, you get obviously, you meet a lot of different people in the community.
Yes.
But did you go to St. Hedwig's School?
Yes.
You got out here?
Uh-huh.
So, in high school, you went to what, Bosco?
Servite.
Oh, you went to Servite?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you become a city council person, because you'd gone through the parochial school route, did you find you didn't know as many people, or had you come across most of these people in just your, various other
I
avenues?
think that because I didn't go to high school here, Servite's a long way.
Right.
It's a half hour at least every day, and but the kids I grew up with from St. Hedwig's and the neighborhood, met a lot of people, Los Al people there, and that was the coolest thing about the campaign was how many people who knew me when I was 14 helped me in my campaign.
Really?
Which I took as quite an endorsement.
Did you reconnect with a lot of those people during that campaign, or had you stayed in touch over the years?
My mother really had stayed in touch, so a lot of people knew her, and there was a core group of ladies, still is really, who runs the city, and she was part of that. All the mothers with 4 or 5 kids who found time to volunteer and things like that. So I think more so through her. A lot of people knew her.
All right, now you've been a council person, 5 months now, I guess, going
Yes.
on 5-6 months. What has surprised you the most about being on the council?
The amount of time it takes.
A lot of reading?
A lot of reading. It takes me about 6 to 8 hours to read the packet for the meeting and consider it and
How far in advance do you get that?
Usually on Wednesday.
So if you're meeting on Monday, you're getting basically 5 days to look at it.
Yeah. And so that's there also you could be doing. You're invited to something 6-10 times a week. You
Right.
could be going to.
Well, I saw you, a couple days ago at the
school,
the
yeah.
track,
Yeah.
the groundbreaking for the all-weather
You
track.
you could spend as many hours doing this job as you wanted to. But I find it rewarding. It's no complaints.
What is the single most important issue right now, you think, facing Los Alamitos?
Oh, it's got to be Cypress.
You think so?
Yeah. I shouldn't say Cypress. I should say Prologis. I mean,
The development
Yeah.
of the new trucking terminal.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know, are the details known at this point? I know, or is it still speculation of what might happen and the fear of what might happen?
it's speculation, but I mean, there's a lot of research being done first on Prologis, and also the plans for the property are out there. So I mean, you can see the truck bays, and they're not building 150 truck bays for no reason.
Okay, obviously.
So,
yeah.
you know, that's going to consume a lot of our time.
Are you getting a lot of noise from the community on that too? Is that
I
they're
would
making
say-
their opinions
Yeah.
known?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't consider it noise, but you know,
I mean, in the negative sense,
yeah.
just
We're very, I think, united city in that. I haven't had one person tell me they're for it. You know, so
I'm curious to see how many trucks are going to be up and down Catella, because I know one of our guests, Bill Gekler, coming up a little later with the Rossmoor Homeowners Association. Obviously, they're concerned. What's it going to affect coming out of Rossmoor in the morning? Is it going to back up traffic? Is it going to?
I think that there's, you know, once the EIR comes out, then it's going to be a hectic 45 days. But once that happens, I think the big question is going to be if you have even 100 trucks a day going down Catella. I can't imagine that 100 more trucks right now. But those 100 trucks are going to drop off stuff that smaller trucks are then going to deliver somewhere else.
Right.
So what's the multiplier effect? Is it 100 trucks means 400 or 500 trips a day down the street? And I mean, the feeling's going to be that at least half that traffic is coming our way. And I would suspect the real number is 80 or 90%.
Probably, yeah. Even if it's just going to the freeway.
Yeah, I mean, that's where the majority of the traffic's going to go. Some may go down Valley View towards 22, the 405, but I think the majority will come through our city.
Well, beyond that, when you came in, what was it you wanted to accomplish? Did
Well,
you have a specific goal, or just a general sense of I'd like the city to get along better? And,
I campaigned on a hard to define idea of bringing civility back to the council group. And from the comments I've heard from people, I think they feel we're operating better as a council than in the past. I don't know how much that is me. I think some older members of the council have changed a little bit and want to get more done, and they know to get things done, they're going to have to get along better.
Is there any one issue that you have a passion for right now that you think is very important to the overall future benefit of the city?
Well, two. Short term, our budget's coming up now, and we've had a lot of talk about an $8 million surplus. Technically, that is correct. We do have $8 million in the bank, but we also have an unfunded pension plan of about $3.5 million. We have an emergency fund that I think is slightly underfunded. Right now, it's about 2 months of what we spend. Personally, I think that should be at least doubled. Because if you really need the emergency fund, not much is going to get done in 2 months. I mean, if bridges are falling down because of an earthquake or something, they're not going to get repaired right away, and the damages will be long term. So that short term, the budget, getting the budget in shape and just keeping us, the people before me did a good job of building up the deficit. And right before the election, I started to see some erosion of that, where people were spending because we had it. And that's, I don't really claim to have the answer, because there are many correct answers with how that $8 million should be quantified and then divided up. But I do want to see where we do have the emergency fund broken out and we have the pension broken out. The council, I think wisely, a couple years ago, decided not to specifically put money against the pension.
Right.
Because you want to keep your options open. But you do need to kind of designate that while keeping it in the general fund. So people don't say, oh, we have $8 million. Why don't, so what's $10,000 when you have $8 million? In my mind, the real question becomes, what's $10,000 when you really have $1 million to $2 million deficit? So short term, that's going to be very interesting. And I think that
In the long term, you mentioned another one?
long term, the project over here on Los Alamitos Boulevard, the only vacant lot, the project there has fallen apart between Brigham and Serpentine.
The old New Web lot. That's
Yeah.
called. Okay.
The only really undeveloped lot in town. And I think we've gotten a second chance at revitalizing downtown. That maybe we should dust off those plans that were in place a year ago. Personally, I'd like to try and see some type of anchor idea there, either a good restaurant, a solid restaurant like an Outback's. It would draw some people there and anchor the northern end, because Ganal's not going to do that.
Right.
Ganal's a great part of our city, but you can't walk home from the lumberyard. You
Right.
could walk there, but
Yeah.
if you have any success, you can't walk home. So get something there, and then look at filling in, from St. Isidore's and the hospital on the boundary there, and filling in, the other. And there are people with some ideas there.
Yeah, I think you're right on the latter. Unfortunately, we're running out of time here. We don't have a lot more to talk about, but I'd love to have you back when you talk about that.
Anytime.
Because I think that is one of the big positives for Los Alamitos. If it's directed right, with that hospital crowd, that workforce that has to eat every day, has to do.
Yeah, we might as well capture that.
Exactly.
And it's the negative that I saw in the plan. And during the campaign, I said I think it's a good plan. I don't think it's fully developed yet.
Right.
And now with the property possibly even being back on the market, but there might be a real chance to do something there.
All right. Well, we'll have you back. We'll talk about that more. I want to thank you for joining us.
My
Richard.
pleasure.
All right, Richard Murphy, council member from City of Los Alamitos. So I appreciate you coming here, and we'll have you back in the future.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more. It's a great place to live in spite of itself after this. Welcome back to A Great Place to Live in Spite of Itself. And with us now, Johnny Strohmeyer, who's the Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us, Johnny.
Thank you for inviting me.
Now, I know you've been involved with Los Alamitos for a long time. How did you actually end up in this community?
I'm so glad you didn't ask how long I've been here. That's not fun. How did we get here? In fact, my husband came out here through the military. We'd gotten out of college. And,
was he a pilot, or was he?
No, he was a dentist at the time.
Okay.
And so we came out that way.
It's even more dangerous.
Interestingly, I hate to get into all this, but he and I came out on a semi-truck. One of our best friends was driving semi-truck coast to coast. So he and I jumped in the truck with them, and we thought we were going to Alameda. We had no idea. We came from Nebraska, so we had no idea where we were heading. Ended up here in Los Alamitos, and it was beautiful. We loved it. And rode back on the truck, loaded all of our stuff, and came out here.
A little warmer here in the winters.
It was a lot warmer here, yes. But we had a fun time.
So how long was you stationed in Los Alamitos?
Oh, gosh, don't, so you're getting years.
You just
So you're
said
getting
years.
into the years
You don't have to
here.
give the exact dates. You just
No, it's fine. I think that the place closed in '69. I think that's when Harry retired.
And
Actually,
so-
he didn't retire. That's when he got out of active duty, and then he became a reserve officer.
Okay.
And then about 20 years later, he retired out as a full captain in the Navy.
But he was a dentist locally, right?
He was a dentist. In the meantime, he was a dentist, yes.
Okay.
Here at Los Alamitos.
Here in Los Alamitos, there on Catella,
Right down there. Mhm.
Same location all these years?
Same location all the years, and he truly loved it. He misses it now. He's retired, and he misses his first family, I think. He thinks about them as being his family. That was his patients.
Yeah.
So he misses everybody.
So how did you end up being involved with the chamber in this role?
I guess as I've explained, when Harry and I first came out here, we really and we had no family here. We had no friends, and our friends became military. Mm-hmm. So when we opened our practice, we figured out that we had to get to know people. We didn't have a following. So we got involved in both chambers, both Cypress and Los Alamitos, and trust me, they became, those people in the chambers at those years, during those times, they became our friends. They became our foundation. And that's why I think so many times people say, well, they all hang together. Well, you know what? We all have friendships, and we've all developed so many trusts And I'm finding this with the other people that are coming, the new ones that are coming in, you're finding levels of things that you have in common with them.
Right.
And I'm finding this no matter where we go, we have friends everywhere. So it has really been a good foundation for us.
Well, historically, when because I've done a lot of research in this area, the chamber was more than just the business chamber. It was like the social hub of the city. I mean,
exactly.
In addition to getting most of the ordinances passed when it was still just a county area.
Right.
But they hosted a lot of the early festivals. They hosted a lot of, school events. It was coordination and stuff. So was it still like that when you first joined the chamber?
It was. We had mixers every month, of which the mixers were really lots of fun. And there's where your social came in. But you have to realize that not only are you socializing to develop friendships, but you're also exchanging business cards. And this is how you developed your businesses too. I mean, you talk about networking. We didn't have this, the texting. We didn't have the Facebook. We had each other, and you either developed a trust or you didn't. And this is how, I see people still doing that today. I think you can go to the internet, you can go to your website, you can do all that stuff, but people really connect when you're talking with somebody.
Well, I've also found if you go to Mixer, you can do in a half hour, you can talk to 15 different people, whereas it might take you 2 hours just doing emails and distractions. So
exactly. So that being said, we have a breakfast once a month. It's on the first Friday of every month. We have one, and it's this month. We're going to start for 2 months. We're going to have we're changing our venue from the Marriott just for these 2 months to try it over at Mr. B's, and it'll be at 7:30 on the first Friday of the month. And for May and June, right? Mm-hmm. We have Dr. Marcy Zwelling. I don't know if you know her or not.
Surgeon,
wonderful doctor. She's I don't know if that's her specialty, but she has. What did I read? Go online and read about her. She's a phenomenal lady. You've seen her on Fox News. She's been on O'Reilly. She's been on Hannity. She knows multitudes of things about our new insurance that's coming out. Whether you're pro or whether you're against it, it doesn't really matter. You need to know the facts.
Right. There's a lot of things that are going to impact people.
There's so much that's going to impact all of us. And consequently, she's going to be our speaker at May and June. So it'll be a follow-up. I really encourage everybody to step out.
So if they want to come to that, they can call the chamber and make a reservation?
Call the chamber. Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you want to give the number,
it's 562-598-6659.
Okay, so to say that's for both the May and June.
May and June. And just respond to the office, whichever.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else does the chamber have coming up?
We're really proud of a young group that we just got started. We have what we call our Chamber of Commerce Young Professionals. Mm-hmm. And in this last year, they've stepped out and done several things.
They've done a lot of things. Yeah.
We've done a lot of things, and I'm so proud. They did what they call the Winter Wonderland Christmas tree lighting. We're going to be doing that again in December, the date to be announced. We're really enthusiastic about that. We had over 1,200 young people coming. Saw families coming from all over the city, coming hand in hand with their parents, and that was probably the most rewarding thing. So many times people say, what does the chamber do for me? Well, the chamber basically stepped back and said, what are we going to do for our people? And they weren't chamber people that were all coming to this event. It was the whole community. Mm-hmm. And I know myself and my staff and everybody that works together and our board, our main goal is to this is our community. We want to show things that we can do, what we are doing. So our young professionals are one of the venues for us to maintain and to make this community better. We're getting ready for our golf tournament, which is in June. And if you want to be a participant in that, please contact the chamber as well.
I should say also, what's your website? I know what it is, but it's
www.losalareachamber.org,
isn't it?
Thank you. I never go there.
LosAlChamber.org.
LosAlChamber.org, and also our Wings, Wheels, and Rotors. Of course, that's our main event that's coming up in October the 27th, and we're already busy into that. With sponsorships, you all know that is a free event, free parking, free coming in, free whatever. Last year, we're being told between 35 and 50,000 were there last year. We're going to try to lean more a little across the line of feeling very strong about 40,000 people attending. We had a great time, and I think everybody that was there was encouraged and had a delightful time. We all know that the traffic is difficult that day, but for a fun event, for a full day, we feel that we're really being able to give to the community something again.
Well, I know it was starting to grow success, but it was kind of like frazzled because it's just a lot of work, and people are doing it on a volunteer basis.
They are.
And you came in and kind of put some structure and organization to it, and so it's done very well since you've been there over the last couple of years.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's certainly not all me. I have had the best support from this board of directors that anyone could have, and our chairman has been Tom Lasser ever since I've been here. I've been here 3 years now, since 2010. I was asked to come in and help a little bit, and so that's kind of what I'm still helping to do.
But is there one thing you still want to accomplish?
Oh gosh, there are lots of things I still want to accomplish. I would believe the bottom line thing would be I would love to see this community come more together. This morning I can't help but think about this, but I saw our 5 presidents standing together as one, and I see why. I don't see why we all can't do that. Maybe I'm an optimist, maybe I'm an eternal optimist, but that being said, you know, we all have one goal in mind, is that our children are safe, we have a great school district, and our community is safe. Our JFTB, we couldn't have better relationships with them. So I really feel very, very comfortable. Our city, I'm very proud of our city and our Chamber of Commerce. And if there's anybody out there that has any suggestions for us as to how we can better serve you, that's exactly my goal. If there's some way that we can step out and help, that's what we want to do.
Well, I know we're going to be talking,
Yes.
so anyway, we'll have more to talk about that, but in the future, and I'd love to have you back. You can talk about more.
Thanks, Larry.
I wanted to have a chance to talk about some of the business that open, but we'll do that the next time, okay? 'Cause
Thanks,
we're
Larry.
running
We
out
have a
time
lot
here.
of those.
I know you do, so
Yeah.
we'll have you back soon.
Thank you very
All right,
much.
thank you very much, Johnny Strohmeyer. We'll be back with A Great Place to Live in Spite of Itself after this. Welcome back to A Great Place to Live in Spite of Itself, and I'm here with community gadfly, Dave Emerson. Really nice guy, AYSO coach, AYSO grandfather, and but sometimes you're the gadfly. But I want to let you talk a little bit about your background, Dave. It's like, how'd you come to live in Los Alamitos? I know you're a real estate consultant, agent by trade.
Well, basically I've grown up in the area. I grew up in Lakewood. My grandparents lived in Garden Grove, so we drove out Catella through the strawberry fields to visit Gramps and Grandmuddy at the farm back
Where was
in
the farm at?
50s. The farm was in Garden Grove. We got a 3/4 acre orange grove that a farmer had subdivided for people who retired, and he was a civil engineer in LA. So I drove through there. When we bought our first home was in Lakewood. We bought our second home, it was in Los Alamitos, about 20, 30 years ago now.
Oh, okay, so you've been here a while.
But as a realtor and real estate consultant for the last 35 years, we've sold a lot of homes. A lot of folks in Lakewood moving up to Los Al or Rossmoor or Cypress, and so we've worked the community that way as well. And then, of course, our kids were raised, our youngest was born here in Los Al, so we've been in the community for quite a while now, and I've been involved with the community in multiple ways before then.
Right. So is that involvement that somehow prompted you, was there any specific thing that prompted you to start the blog, Let's Fix Los Al?
Well, I was running for city council.
Okay.
And what prompted me to run for city council was I was just so fed up with the traffic. And everybody said it was the #1 issue, but nothing was ever done about it except for excuses on why we couldn't do anything. And just a lack of vision and planning, I felt, by the council. And at the time, I was frustrated by the way the council was dysfunctional. And, you know, whoever had 3 votes ran the thing, and they politely ignored the people that didn't, or impolitely. And so I ran for city council 5 years ago, and got in the middle of a big fight over the trash contract at the time, and that was the first really expensive campaign where maybe $20,000 we figure was dumped into supporting the candidates that took over the majority from the other majority. The reason I created the blog is I had a real estate blog, and it was an easy way to get information out there. And so it was just an easy way, and people could comment. I was open commenting. People could say whatever they wanted. instant posting on the comments was kind of a new concept there.
Right.
Well, I lost the election. I didn't have the 40,000 the other guys had. I limited my budget to 5,000, which wasn't enough to do much of anything. The blog, however, so I was done with the election, was going to shut down the blog, and people were, don't shut this down. You know, a lot of comments. Oh no, this is great. This is a community forum. We like this. So it just wouldn't die. So I try to get at least 3 or 4 pieces up there every week of my own. And now we've got 3 additional contributors. A guy from Rossmoor, J.M. Ivler contributes. A guy who lives in Rossmoor Highlands contributes every week on Thursdays. And in addition to that, anyone who wants to can post a comment there. We just ask that they use diplomatic language and try to be respectful of the other side.
Do you think sometimes, because we're so small, people view things as black and white and not shades of gray? Because every issue has shades of gray, I think.
I think, you know, the more activist a person is, the more that tends to happen. I think being local has nothing to do with it. Look at the gridlock we got over the budget in D.C. Mm-hmm. That's partly pushed by gerrymandering and the way we elect our people, and the primary is more important than the secondary election, so you don't elect moderates, but you just don't have flaming moderates.
It's true. All right, what do you think? I bet you the guess is going to be Prologis, the most important issue facing LaSalle right now, or it's open space, which I know has been a passion.
Well, the two interconnect. I just got back from spending a week in Tennessee, where our daughter moved after she married a gentleman from there, and they're a little bit out of Nashville, and I was just impressed by the open space everywhere you look.
Oh, that's beautiful country back there.
Just rolling hills, and there's park and acre on acre on acre, and you just drive into the stores, just a delight, because you're going past these pastures in the open space, kind of like driving down Catella when I was a kid visiting my grandparents at the farm down at Garden Grove. And what we've done is we've let the open space just be developed. Ventura County bought out some of the development rights. They've got some land that's permanently agricultural there. So you've got a mix match, because that was done 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
And that's why I think the racetrack property is such a key issue. Because
but they're a private, here's the rub, I guess. They're a piece of private property.
Well, they're private property. When they bought it, it was zoned public and semi-public use only. Mm-hmm. And they knew that when they bought it, when Hollywood Park sold it to the current owners, and they've been trying chunk by chunk to get that changed, and they've changed a lot of it. But still, public, semi-public, schools, cemeteries, golf courses, parks, government institutions, subsidized housing. Now, the citizens of Cyprus put in Measure D, I believe it was, years ago, to protect that.
Right.
It was one page. It was drafted by the citizens. Measure M, the one that's coming up on, no, Measure A that's coming up on the ballot, 600 pages, I believe it is, written by the racetrack owners' lawyers. You know, we stop that nonsense. Leave the zoning the way it is, and let's develop it within that constraint. Under that, the value of the property obviously is lower. But under that, I think Orange County owes us some open space up here. You look at OC Parks. Man, there's tons of stuff in South County. There's all sorts of parks in North County. There's parks in the east section, Irvine, up out of,
right, the whole area.
you know, Irvine
Silverado
Park,
and all
that
that,
whole,
Santiago
yeah.
Canyon.
What do we got? Miles Square Park. You know, you want to ride your bike to Miles Square Park? It'll take you 3 hours. Okay? We have nothing up here. Some of that land, the county needs to come in and pay fair value. Maybe the cities get together, and we need a good sports park. We could have some trails going around. That former golf course land is park-like already. It's got lakes in there. It's got hills. There needs to be a way, and I'm not saying that we should seize private property, but we don't need to zone it denser than what it was to begin with.
Well, unfortunately, we're running out of time, but I'd love to have you come back, talk more about that. I probably didn't give you enough time on that, but open space, yeah, you're right. It's there, and is it being utilized the best way it can for the whole area? And that's
well, we're past the time, but
Yeah.
it's time to do it.
All right, well, we'll come back, and we'll let you talk about that more.
Love to.
All right, Dave, thanks for joining us on this segment. We'll be back with more. Great place to live in spite of yourself, in spite of itself, in spite of somebody's self, whatever, after this. Thanks a lot, Dave. are back with A Great Place to Live in Spite of Itself, and we're here with Bill Gekler, former president of the Rossmoor Homeowners Association, still involved with the group, and longtime Rossmoor resident. Bill, why don't you just tell us a little bit how you actually came to live in this area?
Oh, I moved into Rossmoor in 1960. In a
You're original owner then, huh?
A brand new home. I'm an original owner.
You're on the north side of the track then?
Yes, up here on Quail Run Road,
Okay.
2 blocks south of Catella. And I never thought that I would still be here. It just seemed like a good place to live.
Did your work bring you here?
I was working in downtown Los Angeles, and at that time there were no freeways, so I had to go all the way up Bloomfield to Santa Ana, and then go on in on the Santa Ana freeway, or go all the way over to the Long Beach freeway and up. So it was a test for a while.
Yeah, I can believe it.
And then the company that I was working for moved to Orange, or Fullerton first, and then to Orange, and actually that kept me within a decent driving distance and easier traffic. So that's why I'm still in Rossmoor.
So you raised your family here? And
My family's raised, they went through the schools here in Rossmoor. And I didn't get involved with the RHA until I retired, after I retired. And I did it by the strange indirect route of getting into the paper drive.
You've been involved with that for a very long time.
Since about 98, yeah.
Yeah.
And I run the paper drive now. I have run it since probably about 2008.
Overall, do you have a number of how many dollars you've raised? Because you let other nonprofits kind of benefit from it as well as the RHA.
Yes,
right?
we use the money, well, for several purposes. One, in Rossmoor, we use it to paint the curb numbers about every 2 to 3 years, depending on how much they're damaged or worn. So we use, that's one of the primary purposes of the paper drive funds itself. And then the secondary purposes are things that will benefit Rossmoor in general. For instance, just recently there's been this Los Alamitos Educational Foundation, and we put in a matching grant, a matching amount of money to get people to donate to the LAEF to improve schools, the academic performance of schools. It benefits everybody. So those sort of things we will use that money for that purpose, because the papers come from whoever wants to give us paper. So it's all of Rossmoor. We actually have people giving us paper from Seal Beach and from other areas outside of this. One lady drove up from Torrance one time.
Really?
She had a daughter, I think, that lived in the area. So
okay.
she felt like she could contribute by bringing paper.
The RHA, it's a little different from the RCSD. Obviously, you guys cover everything. The RCSD's mandate is limited to basic
yeah.
parks and
We
curbs.
don't. We basically are more of a advocacy group, if you will, and I wouldn't call ourselves an activist group, but an advocacy group. We see needs, and then we push on whoever the organizations are in the government that you have to work with in order to get the need addressed, whether it be schools or the county properties and or any other property.
How many different committees do you have? I know you have transportation. You have.
Yeah, we have. Well, one is one that works with the RCSD. We have traffic. We have a code. One is codes and standards, community quality, I guess is what you'd call it. We have an emergency preparedness committee. We have neighborhood watch. We have. See, I'm trying to think. I don't have the memory.
You have a lot
list.
of them, though. So you have your fingers in a lot of pie, just as advocacy, though.
There's like
as
8 or 10 committees. They kind of come and go. Some of them are permanent, but most of them are temporary for a particular purpose.
Well, one in particular, the Transportation Committee, has done a lot of research into the pro-Logis deal. So
yes.
why don't you're telling me some numbers that I was just amazed
Yeah.
at. Why don't you
Well,
listen on that?
the man that is currently chair of that committee is Ralph Artavedian, and he's a very knowledgeable writer.
He's an auto writer for the Los Angeles Times.
The Los Angeles Times.
Yeah.
But he got very interested in this, and he's been digging, and he concludes if indeed the information that's contained in the environmental submittals that he's seen so far is true, then we could expect up to 3,000 trucks a week going down Catella. Not a week, a day.
And
3,000 trucks a day going down Catella. And it's really very difficult for us to understand how I think it'd have a terrible impact on the schools. And the other is it'll have a bad impact from environmental standards, from an environmental standpoint on the kids going to school. And that includes all the way up to high school, because if you think about it, a lot of the high school students come from out of Rossmoor or come from Los Alamitos on the other side of Los Alamitos Boulevard.
Well, the majority of them that come up from Seal Beach
Yeah.
through Rossmoor, they have to make that.
They're all in the same school. Yeah, they have all the same school district is coming across Catella. So it's like putting a big highway full of trucks in their pathway. And it's certainly a safety issue from my view, because not only you have the heavy truck traffic, but it's already a difficult intersection where Wallingsford and Catella are. In the morning, people that are residents in Rossmoor don't go anywhere until about 9 or 9:30, because before that, Wallingsford is totally jammed up.
It's impossible to get through there. Yeah.
There are secret paths we use.
But there aren't that many gates out of this community, unfortunately.
No, there isn't.
You're limited.
But you find them.
Yeah. All right. Well, I want to thank you for coming and telling us a little bit about that. Love to
Yeah.
have you back and talk a little bit more about the RHA.
Yeah, and don't forget there's a festival on May 5th.
Yeah.
At Rossmoor Park, and we've got a lot of good response already. We'll have entertainment on the stage all day. There are small rides for the little kids, and there's bigger rides and that sort of thing.
Well, we have the poster right up there on TV, so you
great.
come out there. Yeah,
Yeah,
generally have the sheriff's helicopters land, don't they?
They're going to land there. They'll be in the parking lot at Rush Park, and we'll have a rescue boat, a helicopter, and some sort of a special vehicle that they have that they're going to bring out, and a radio, a portable radio station that they use.
Oh, great. Okay.
So there's a whole bunch of things, and they'll be sitting right next to where the food trucks are coming in. So we have two.
Well, that's on Sunday, May 5th, and so be sure to come out for that. That's going to be great.
Oh, it'll be great.
I'll be there.
We're looking forward. Lots of vendors, like over 50 vendors, and about 25, 30 nonprofit and community organizations there, so you can get to know your community.
Always a lot of fun. So that's the
And-
Rossmoor
and-
Community Fun Festival, Sunday,
Yeah.
May 5th, and we'll see you out there.
And I got to add that RCSD is very much involved with us on this. We work together. We're a real good team now, so
All right, great.
I really enjoy them. So.
All right, thank you very much, Bill.
Okay.
We'll be back with more about Rossmoor, the Friends of the Library, right after this on A Great Place to Live in
Okay.
Spider. All right, we're back. Great Place to Live in spite of itself. I'm here with Mary Holzgang and Sandy Lamoureux of the Friends of the Los Alamitos Rossmoor Library, one of the more tougher titles to say here.
It's long.
Friends of the Los Alamitos Rossmoor Library. What do you guys call yourselves for short? Just Friends of the Library, I guess?
For short, we call ourselves Friends of the Library, and every library most libraries have a Friends of the Library.
Are you? I know I said we'd talk about something first, but I'm just curious. Are you guys affiliated somehow with Friends of the Seal Beach Library? Because they're both the same system. I mean, do you work in coordination on some projects or not?
No, not really. Each library is separate. Their friends belong to just that particular library.
You don't have friends.
And
Can't be friends with two libraries.
You can be friends, but you could be if you wanted to be. But we work separately because the monies that the Friends of the Library raises goes to support the library. And we've been doing that. The library opened in about 61, and the Friends of the Library started just a few years after that. And the monies that the Friends of the Library raise through sale of used books and magazines and fundraisers goes to buy books for the library. We buy at least a third of the books that are in the library.
Mm-hmm.
We support buy magazines and newspapers, online databases like Value Line and what's the other one?
Morning Star.
Morning Star. We support the complete summer program for the children, summer reading program.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have great corporate sponsors for that, but they don't seem to do that anymore. So Friends of the Library pays for that. And we support too by giving money for extra help because the county no longer can do that. So we support in that way. And we provide other programs during the year, not just during the summer, but for children's programs during the year and adult programs too. So it's a very viable community resource.
And now you have a very big project on your hands.
We have a huge
Sandy,
project.
I know Sandy's been
Sandy's going to tell about it.
chomping at the bits, ready to tell us
Chomping
about
at the
this.
bits. It's called our Community Front Porch Project.
Hence their T-shirts.
Yes, hence our T-shirts. The front of the library, the inside of the library has been redone several times over the years since it's been there, but the exterior has not. And there's a lot of land out in front that is just overgrown with old bushes. And we were able to get from the county a plan out front over 300% without going into the parking lot, just by removing the plantings and rearranging the way it is out
So
there.
they're like a wall, a barricade there. It kind of
Yes.
separates the parking lot from you.
Well, and you can't tell how to get in there, and it's kind of
Yeah,
slippery.
you give up and you finally walk around the long way all the
I
time.
know. So that will be taken care of. But we have to raise $100,000 before the county will do any of the work. The Friends have to, and we didn't want to touch the money that they're already raising for their book sales, because that goes to support things the patrons need at the library. So this is separate. We are selling donor bricks or pavers for the ground that are a $100 donation, and you can have your name or whatever you'd like in a paver, or tiles on the donor wall. They're $250 donation for an 4x8 tile, or a $500 donation for an 8x8. For $1,000, you can have a 8x8 tile with a graphic on it. And then, of course, we will be going after corporate donors also. But we really want, this will make the library much more viable in the community. We can have more meetings, more children's programs. They can be outdoors. There'll be seating outside in an amphitheater area, so that the children can do the big messy things they can't do indoors. There can be bigger meeting groups outside. And then, of course, the Friends book sales can expand onto that area and not take up the parking lot. So it would be really great for the community. We will be out at the festival, at the Rossmoor Festival, with a booth. We'll have our tiles, we'll have samples.
And we'll have our T-shirts, and we'll have brochures that explain the whole program, because it'll be a comfortable sitting area.
How long do you expect this process, process to take?
Well, we're figuring it's going to take us a year until we can actually start. We just heard from the county, and once we get the money, then they go out to bid.
Okay.
And so,
But you think it'll take you about a year just to raise the money?
well, we hope not. But
Yeah,
we're
we
giving
hope it comes along.
we're giving ourselves a year,
Okay.
because we want to do it right. But it should be a beautiful addition.
It should be. Well, I know the library, I've used that library many times, for being size, that library has a lot of stuff in it for being
Right.
what the size is. So I found it very, very beneficial for me. So the best of luck to you guys in trying to raise that money. We're going to run how they get in touch with you here, Friends of the
Right.
Library website and also the Facebook site.
Right, and
Right.
we do have PayPal on our Friends website.
You guys
so
are up to date,
You can go
man.
there and do it, and like us on Facebook, give us a hand.
All right. There you go.
Right.
The challenge is out there. The gauntlet's been tossed.
Yes.
Right,
you gotta
and you
raise
can
money
come
for
into
this.
the library and get your questions answered, whether
Okay.
it's about a book or whether it's about the project.
All right. Well, Mary, Sandy, thank you very much for coming here.
Thank you
Telling us
very
about
much.
it.
you
And
for
we'll
having
see you.
us.
We will see you at the Rossmoor Community Festival, and also see you at the Sugar Beet Festival
Yes.
out there. So
we will
we'll
be
talk
there.
about that more next time you come back.
Right.
And we'll get a progress report and see how well you're doing on this.
Right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. We'll be back. More of It's a Great Place to Live in spite of itself after this. All right, welcome back to A Great Place to Live in Spite of Itself, and I'm in trouble this sequence, I know. We got Teri Cole and Denise Miller, some friends from Rossmoor who have lots of energy, and they're always out and about. What have you guys been up to lately? Where have you gone?
Eating,
well.
shopping, eating.
All right, where have you been eating lately?
Well, my favorite, the fish company.
Fish kind of. All right, what'd they have this time?
They always have a good, fresh, wild fish, and I've been gluten-free recently. But you can go in there, and they'll grill up your fish with blackened seasoning, any fresh fish, grilled veggies, great salad.
Well, you've been all out.
No croutons. No, I mean it's a good thing.
Well, obviously, always good food at the fish company.
Yes,
Wendy Rothman
yes.
and crew there, Vanessa. Now you said you found a good Thai place around here too.
Yes, just yesterday, Chiang Mai, Thai right on the boulevard behind the old Burger King.
Okay, right there with all those restaurants.
Yeah,
in the,
it's a brand new owner. Fantastic. Great food. Great price. Spotless restaurant.
What'd you have?
I went with my darling friend Jody, and we shared the Tom Young Gai soup, and then we each had brown rice with curry, and she had the Thai basil veggies. Really, really tasty.
So on the Teri Cole scale, thumbs up, big thumbs up?
Thumbs up. I said I would definitely be back. It was really, really good, and I was impressed with the service, and the restaurant is impeccably clean.
All right, now Denise, you told me you found another good restaurant in town. Your
We
husband
did. Well,
found
it was new to us. I understand it's been around now for over a year, but was new to us. Campai.
Yeah, Campai Sushi, great place.
Right. We were completely unaware of it, and in the same course of 1 week, 2 people mentioned it to us, and so we thought we should go. We went on a Sunday, and they had a happy hour kind of menu, which was a pleasant surprise on a Sunday.
That is nice.
And tried lots of different things, and I don't think we tried any beer or sake or anything fun like that, but felt the same way. It was really great food, great energy, a lot of young people, a lot of young families.
It's a bunch of young guys who started it.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, because
Okay.
they did the Taste for Los Al, and they were swamped.
Oh, I'm sure it was
Yeah.
sushi. Everybody, yeah.
I didn't, like you, I went to Taste for Los Al. Who had a chance to eat? You're always
Never.
talking to somebody.
Or drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's call it like it is. Hit the bars. It was just fabulous, really fun to have something different. And Ben Lee's,
Oh, yeah.
is a favorite.
Long
Last time
time
I was
having
there,
an
the
Asian
Coles
theme here
were there.
today.
Yeah.
So we've gone Thai, we've gone.
You know who else is really good is La Crema Bakery in Seal Beach.
Well, I love them, but
Fantastic.
not for Thai food, not for
No, not for
bacon.
Thai food, but
Yeah.
just for
La crema
good,
Thai food.
Yeah.
Okay.
For
Breakfast.
good, yeah, breakfast food, and you can get good food to go.
Well, you're all over. See, I'm barely anywhere because I have no life.
Oh, you're
You guys do.
everywhere.
I was going to say, we had dinner not that long ago at another favorite.
Yeah,
right
Shenandoah,
here.
great place there.
Yeah.
Shenandoah. We sat outside and had a lovely.
I love their
lovely
country
dinner.
fried steak.
And now you sound like Scott because I try to lean towards the salmon, the grilled salmon, or the salads are
Right.
Well, that's
really
what I
fresh
should
and
lean
good,
towards
too.
after looking at my last
Yeah.
doctor's appointment. But
It's true for all of us. Do you do Walt's Wharf? And if you're talking about fish and the
when
fish
Walt
company?
starts doing the Taste for Los Al, I'll start doing Walt's Wharf.
I get it.
Ooh.
I get it.
Right,
I understand.
No, it's nothing against them. I just don't have time. I try to patronize the restaurants.
Right.
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 Support,
I
you know,
understand.
What about
That's
El Zarape?
Oh, they're good.
They're really good.
Just
Best-
Great
for the
Mexican
first
food,
time.
the
yeah.
best crunchy chicken taco.
Crunchy chicken. Okay, I'm
In
gonna remember
Orange
that.
County.
Sharon
I'm not
Anderson
kidding.
served a giant
Or
burrito
Ellington.
when we were doing the basket wrapping for We Care. It was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And it was from El Zarape. I'd never heard of it.
Yeah, no,
That's up
Cypress,
there.
right?
Yeah,
It's
that's on
family
Ball Road.
owned.
That's right there by corner of Moody
Right.
and
Right.
Ball.
Great,
which is,
great little spot.
And I should say that Campai Sushi is over there in the Los Al Plaza, which is right next to Nick's.
Right next to Nick's Burritos in Los Al. Right, right.
So that's a really good place.
Yeah.
All right, we've done the food shopping. All right, let's give some shout outs to the local merchants. Who've
Denim
given-
Bar.
Prep,
Denim Bar.
Prep Kitchen.
Yeah, I second that.
One of my favorite prep kitchen
All right,
essentials.
Denim Bar. Why?
I happen to have a high schooler, and of course it's always last minute. I don't have anything to wear. Go down there, pop in. The girls are great. You can even call and say, okay, I'm desperate. I need a dress for a tea or whatever, and they'll have a dressing room waiting for you, reasonably priced. Judy is amazing. She contributes and helps our.
Is
local-
that Judy Montes also owns Flags with a Flare?
Yes, it is.
Yes,
Okay.
she's really supportive to
Yeah.
National Charity League and the other philanthropies around town. So we like to give back.
All right, you said Prep Kitchen. They're in the Rossmoor Center.
Prep Kitchen Essentials, love them.
Yes.
Fun cooking classes, fun when you need something. I don't buy a lot of things because it's a kitchen store, frankly, but when
Right.
you want a special knife, or I was making some crazy recipe by Ann Burrell, and she called for me to grind my own tomatoes in a grinder, and it was insane, absolutely insane. But I went in, and she
Right.
had this beautiful device from Germany that I use once every 3 years now or something. But great fun products like that. Great gifts, hostess gifts.
Now
fun
we're
classes.
mentioning. I was wrong. I thought it used to be the old Wine Styles, but that Wine Styles used to be next to it, and now
Right.
that's,
Correct.
That's where Pete's.
It's right next to
I think
Pete's
that's right.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're in the Rossmoor Center in the
Yes.
corner there.
Right.
So
We could do a shout out for any of the parents looking for something fun for their kids this summer. She does fun cooking classes.
Right.
A camp
Great
Monday
camps.
through
Great
Thursday.
camps.
well,
For kids.
you worked there. Is that what you said?
I did. I did.
Did you conduct any of the cooking classes or what? Because you're a great cook.
Thank you. I just assisted and signed people up for cooking classes and helped and organized.
Well, you do very well.
And
at that.
I have to say, she's applying for a beer and wine license. So, like fun ladies groups, or you could take in, a group of corporate people to do
I
you
smell
know,
fundraisers for
like-
nonprofit groups around here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, we're talking about nonprofits and we're talking about fundraising. National Charity League, you're both
Yes.
veterans, but
Yes.
one of you has gone, become a member of the Golden Club for
The
or whatever it's
two,
called.
yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
what they're alumni groups that help the chapter, and I joined both of them. One are older women, much older women whose children are long gone and who have retired, but they're really fun women.
Right.
But how
and
long were you a member of National Charity League? Then?
6 years. If you have one child, it's a 6-year commitment. So
And Teri, you
12 years. This
So-
is my 12th year.
the NCL, the No Cash Left League, that really
No,
applies
no,
to you.
It's been a great experience. It's been a really
Yeah.
fun experience.
wonderful.
It's a wonderful organization.
What does it require of the women? I mean, the moms. Is it more effort required on the mom's part? Is it?
Yes.
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 It really
but-
is.
You're both nodding yes right
No,
now.
but it really is.
No,
it really
it's a
is.
commitment, and it's, you know, it's service to your community, to different philanthropies.
We chair committees that run that propel the organization. So the fashion show, which is a fundraiser, is run by a particular grade level within the organization. We have a lot more. We have jobs that the girls don't have. They have we run the thrift shop, as you know, Miss Charity's Attic, right across from the high school, and it's the mothers who really run that. Our daughters come in and work a little, but they're in school. We're open
Right.
Monday through Saturday. So a lot of those things are mother-driven and not daughter-driven. There are lots of opportunities, of course, for the girls for leadership and philanthropy and
Right.
community service, all kinds of great things.
Well, and they give to a lot of different causes, right?
Right.
We have 20. Last time when I left the organization, we had 23 philanthropies that we supported. Yeah, a lot.
All right. Well, this segment flew by fast, so I just want to thank you guys for joining me because I knew it would be fun.
Thank you,
And
Teri.
I want to have you guys back, and can you guys go to a restaurant and give us a review, a solid review?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, oh, good.
And we
Okay.
want pictures.
Okay,
We'll
we can
it.
do that together.
We'll yeah. I was going to say once Lisa gets her wine license.
All right. Well, now we got to the bottom line for Teri Cole and Denise Miller. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
We'll
Larry.
be
Thanks,
back
Larry.
with more. It's a great place to live in spite of itself.
I like the title.
There you go.
I like that too.
Thank
All right. We'll be back after this. All right, we are back with A Great Place to Live in Spite of Itself, and joining me now, Randy Hill, a gentleman I've known for many, many years. Our kids went to school together and played sports together and did many other things. And Randy, normally I've seen you involved with sports. You've been the president of the Football Booster Club, LAYB, and now you're on the education side. How'd this kind of come about?
Well, basically, Diana and I were approached by Dave Appling many years ago, and we admire the work that he's done for our community. So when he said please, and we said yes, sir.
And so, what is your role right now? And you started as a vice president, and when Diana became on the school board, you moved up to president. Is that what happened? Or?
No, actually, Tom Stretz was interim. He was between us. So
Okay.
Diana left to be on the school board, and then Tom became our president, and he's getting ready to term out, and then I became the president, and I'm currently the president.
What's the difference now between the Ed? Obviously, the Ed Foundation started many years ago. You said earlier that its focus at one point was on the high school, the Performing Arts Center and things like that. And OSHA was coming over, and they're doing things to upgrade the facilities. What is kind of their focus now?
Well, right now we're very much about being a sustainable organization. We do offer classes, programs for students. We offer after-school programs, summer school programs, and Young Americans. Those are our three programs right now that we offer, and those are for the children, students, and obviously what we know is that by being involved with activities, we increase those children's performance in school and out of school. We help better prepare them for after high school. So that's a very important focus for us, but that's just one branch. Also, we are a fundraising organization. Our fundraising right now is primarily driven through parents within the district, and we use those funds for targeted teachers. What we do with those targeted teachers is we bring them in for certain periods of the day, depending on the class, what the district and the principals work out as their primary needs. So if there's a reading class that needs more attention, or where there's more opportunity, then we provide instruction there. Math and reading are obviously two of the primary targets. We have one example where there was a class that we put a targeted intervention teacher in, and with a model, a learning model that was new. And so our assistant superintendent, Mark Johnson, helps put in these programs. So by bringing in targeted intervention teachers, we actually also can bring in models of other teaching. And this one class in particular went up 2 grade levels in 4 months just through that targeted teacher.
So is part of your work almost like as a laboratory for a future?
I'm not sure that that the district would be pleased with me using the term laboratory, but certainly there are teaching methods are evolving, and what we can do is provide an avenue to explore some of those that the district thinks might be fruitful. So for example, that one, they're going to expand that through the district now.
What are the things that you would like to see the foundation get into?
There's really no limit. I mean, my goal would be to offer programs for free. I mean, I think that would be fantastic if we could just say, you know, we have the funds to offer courses. And I know that one of the things that happens with students is when they leave school, they fall behind. When they're in school, they're gaining, and as they leave school, whether it's at the end of the day or the end of the school year for the summer, they spend the summer falling behind. And we want to give them an opportunity to actually grow during the summer. And so that's one thing we can do. Obviously, providing more targeted intervention teachers would be fantastic. The more we can do that, the more we break down class size, we can reach all the students. You know, it's our motto is every child in the district. We're not focusing on those that need improvement. We're not focusing on the top. We're trying to reach them all. And by breaking them into smaller groups, then each group benefits.
What is, do you think has been the most successful thing that the foundation has done so far?
I think the targeted intervention teachers is brilliant. That's something that Sherry Kropp and the district decided to use the funds for, and that is fantastic. Obviously, though, the programs we offer, the after-school program, the summer enrichment programs, they're all tremendously beneficial for the students.
How close are you I mean, are you basically taking direct's not the right word, but are you taking initiatives that you know the school district is excited about and then running with those, or are you proposing things to them? I mean, how close, what's your working relationship like with
We
the
work
district?
very closely with the district. Whether the superintendent or an assistant superintendent, somebody generally is at our board meetings, pretty much every board meeting. We meet with them on a regular basis. Our program director meets with the district. Our executive director meets with the district. I meet with the district. They attend our board meetings. So we have a very, very close working relationship. And I have to say, I'm honored to be among that group. They do a tremendous job.
They do a tremendous job. They put in a lot of time, I know, just from
People have no idea, yes. No concept of how much they know, how well they do their jobs, how much they care about our children, and how much time they put in.
Well, they have a good advocate in you, so you've done a good job for that. I want to thank you for joining us. I know we didn't have a lot of time to talk about it. We'll have you back. We want to do some projects together around here.
Yes.
We can make it all work out and make it happen. So I want to thank you, Randy. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us today for another episode of It's a Great Place to Live in Spite of Itself. I'm Larry Strother, and we will see you next time. I want to thank Kirk Stevens, all of our crew.